Hey everyone, it is Elsa932 on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of The Ultimatum. Now, I am going to say y'all have been doing way better. I've been getting some interactions more than before, but we can get better. Please like the video, share it with a friend, leave a comment below. And maybe your comment will turn into something that, makes the channel do something a little different. That's why I'm doing The Ultimatum. We are on episode 4 of The Ultimatum, and I am going to grab my notes. It has been hectic for these couples, okay? So, trial marriage day 1, Sandy and JR. She says she saw her ex when she went for coffee. Her ex is Nick. She said he can't handle what comes with all of this. He's in his head, and, he's saying that Sandy and JR were there to sleep around, and he asked if she kissed JR. So JR is like, that's going to cause a storm, okay? She said he won't listen when she wanted to unpack things in the relationship, meaning Nick. Sandy's talking about Nick didn't want to listen. And now he wants, to call things off and for them to leave. So she's like, Nick keeps calling her, and if she doesn't respond, he's going to do something more. So Jared is like, he could be the same, but he is going through the process. He could be the same jealous way that Nick is, but he is trying to go through a process. I'm not sure. I totally believe them because I'm not sure some of these relationships are real. I think some of these relationships possibly, allegedly, are contrived for the show, but we shall see. Nick, stay away. Day 3, Nick is pacing in his apartment, and then he goes looking for Vanessa. Guess what, folks? Vanessa has packed her things. Vanessa is gone. Mariah is too looking around, and all of Micah's stuff is gone. Netflix puts up a message. Earlier in the day, Dave, Vanessa, Micah, and Chanel secretly met off camera. That evening, the surveillance cameras captured them packing. So they show us footage of them packing. And they even show us that Dave turns the camera in the living room away from seeing them packing and leaving. Then here's another message from the show. Dave, Vanessa, Mike, and Chanel quickly departed, abruptly ending their experience. Whoa. Remember when we first met Mike and Chanel, and I was like, why aren't we seeing them? Why aren't we seeing their response at dinner? We're not seeing a lot of them. I understand why now. I understand. Because they didn't make it. This was what did I just say? Day 3, and we are gone. Nick is like, now he's alone, and that's not what the experience is about. But Nick, the experience is not about coercing Sandy and talking to her while you go for coffee either, Nick. So are you like mad that Sandy is still here, but your, person who understood you in the art world, Vanessa's gone. But I have my thoughts on Vanessa leaving. I think that her dude, Dave, I think Dave uses emotions to get her emotional and tether herself to him. I don't think they're going to get far. I'm hoping they do. I'm hoping Dave learned, but I don't know. It's only been 3 days, people. Golly. So Mariah says just 3 days means that Micah was not invested in this. Okay. Then we see the show again posts. The cast was informed that Nick and Mariah are alone in this experience. Ultimatum, y'all are doing something with me with all these little notes. So Caleb says, knowing Mariah, she will have issues with him and Aria getting closer and having a connection. So we see Nick and Mariah go out. Nick said he's surprised. He was taken off guard. Mariah said it feels like a divorce. And, Nick feels that Dave is the reason she left. Yes, I believe Dave is a reason Vanessa left. But guess what, Nick? You harping on Sandy the entire time after y'all got back to the apartment also pushed her to Dave. So he said Vanessa was his connection and Dave was going to propose. He was sure of it. Then he asked Mariah, "Are you ever a mess?" I was like, Nick, why does she need to look a mess? Why does she need to carry on? So I'm wondering if you're used to Sandy's outbursts. We'll put a pin in that. So Mariah said yes, she was abandoned as a child, and she feels like she's emotionally needy to Caleb. Nick says he hopes something good will come out of it and they will support each other, but they will not be living in the same situation. I wondered about that. I was hoping the show didn't just put Nick and Mariah together because they were alone and abandoned. I do not like the abandoning. I do not like them leaving. And I do think the ultimatum needs to, one, either have them in separate quarters. Y'all would understand by episode 5. Or they can like block any contact between these people because apparently they don't know boundaries. They don't know when to stop. Caleb and Arya go out and she, tell him he could try the drink she has and use her spoon. And I'm like, wait a minute now. We just know this man for like 3 days, maybe a week, sharing spoons. Can we get a fresh spoon so he could try it on his own? So Arya says she's never lived with someone. Caleb said it's very different. And she said there's a calmness about him that she likes. Caleb is concerned that Mariah is not secure in herself because she cannot say why he's the one for her. She just feels it. And, she talks about blind faith. Comment below for me. Do you think love is a feeling you cannot explain? Or should you, like Caleb once, tell the person why you love, like them, and want to be with them? So leave it in a comment below. Is it just faith? I know you are for me, or you have to list their qualities. So Caleb says that blind faith is very scary. And Arya's like, she don't do blind faith. She said her parents were separated, and it was when she was a freshman in college. And her mom just said it like, oh yeah, your dad and I are separated. Arya goes on to say that her parents once had an open relationship while she was growing up. She just saw other women around. She didn't know what it was. So Caleb is like, no open relationship for him. He is not the open relationship guy because of the bad dating pool out there. Now, Caleb, you said it's because of the bad dating pool. What if we found a nice lady who is willing? Would that change your mind? So Arya says she cannot trust men because of this situation of the parents and their separation and open relationship. But Arya, dear, your mom kept it from you as well. Your mom kept it from you. So I know you're seeing your mom's resentfulness, but mom picked dad. So I don't want you to put more weight on one parent than the other. I'm hoping that you have looked at both sides of the equation. And I'm hoping that the view like you cannot trust men is coming from, more things you learn. But Caleb and Arya seem like they're roommates. They are roommates. They're just hanging out, roommates who or very good best friends that are like, yeah, we could, but it ain't gonna work. Scotty and Zanaya, they were walking in the street, and I noticed this. They were walking, I guess, to the basketball court they were going to chill at, and she was walking close to the curb. I'm not saying anything other than I'm a little old school. The gentleman walks on the outside, protecting his lead. That's all I'm saying. So Zanaya says she is surprised at how seamless living together would be. Jara and Sandy go bowling, and those were small bowling balls. Small bowling balls. What is that? That is a different style of bowling that I just don't know. So leave in a comment below and let me know, because So she wants him to do laundry together with her. She wants to do things together. Grocery shopping. They are a couple. They should do things together. And Jared says he's very independent thinking, and doing things together and for the relationship is not how he usually thinks. So Sandy says in a relationship and in a family, you have to look out for the other people. Teach him, Sandy. Why do you have to tell him? But you know what? I'm thinking, just hear me out with JR. I'm thinking, is it because he's the middle child? He said he's the middle child of 6 or 7. So is it that he's so independent thinking because he had to find and do for himself? So that's the few grains of positivity I'll give towards JR. So Zanaya Scotty, she says Scotty says he wants proximity to family when he has kids. Is that why he wants to stay in California? So Zanaya says, and wait a minute, and Scotty, have you told that to Arya? That it's because you want to be close to family so the kids know and grow up with grandma and uncles and cousins. Have you told her that? So Zanaya wants to have kids, before she's 35 because 35 is when you get complicated pregnancies for women. And Scotty says he just don't want to be an older parent. I get you with that, Scotty, because we'll hear somebody later on wants kids when they're 40, and I'm like, by the time they graduate high school, you almost 60. I'm just saying. So Scotty tells Zanaya that she sidesteps emotions and she uses humor to change the subject. And Zanaya says she's never thought of vulnerability that way. Okay? She's never thought of that, and she just sideswipes it, he thinks, because her partner isn't very open and emotionally vulnerable with her. So Scotty said if he leaves here not engaged and he's not with Zanaya, then he thinks he's not good enough for someone. And Scotty, I hope marriage isn't your valuation system. Arya and Caleb. Arya says Scotty needs to have the last word. Are you the one to have the last word? Then she says she gets quiet and no talking if she's mad. Caleb says he gets quiet too. Now, Caleb, Arya, how do you resolve the conflict or problem if you get mute and do the quiet treatment? Things just fester. They just fester when you do that. Can you talk? Can you talk to your partner? So Caleb said he shouldn't, count on you to feel good when she says that Scotty doesn't feel her appreciation for him. And I think that's just a love language thing. Caleb said Mariah has given him the purest love he's ever felt. It feels endless and deep. And to not have that, since she was, child abandoned and all of that, to not have that, but still have such faith in love and give so much in love, Caleb finds it scary. He feels he can open up to Arya and not feel judged. And I'm like, Caleb, you're saying this is the purest love you've known. What's going on? Okay. Sandy and JR, he's cooking shrimp and mac and cheese. So since he's cooking, their bet was, if she wins, he gets to cook her dinner. And if he wins, I forgot what. Oh, he wanted her to wear his shirt to bed. Okay. So he's cooking. So I'm safe to say Sandy won. So JR said it was very sweet when Sandy decided to help him cook because Zanaya doesn't. She's not interested in helping him at all with his cooking, eating journey in his fitness. So they pray over the food and they talk about kids. Sandy wants girls. JR says he wants, I think, 3 or 4 boys and then a girl. Guess he wants them to protect his princess. And he wants to be in a space where he's ready to be a dad to his kids. I understand that part, JR. Right now, you're young and you're still, dating. But he said by 40 maybe. And I'm like, what age is your woman going to be? Can she have kids at 40? You're going into a whole stratosphere here. So if you're 40, I hope you're going to look at and think about the woman you would want if that will be an option for her. But 40, you're going to be almost 60 when they are halfway through college. So, he loves that Sandy's so open because she doesn't have a timeline on anything. Remember, Sandy, though, is extremely young. So, they look down the balcony where they're eating, and yikes, they see Nick. And JR is like, Nick was looking up at us. She walks away to grab a refill of wine, and JR is like, he was facing us. Of course he knows. He saw us. And she's like, oh my God, this is weird. She does not like that Vanessa has left Nick because Nick, on his own, no bueno. So we see Nick painting furiously, and all I can say is the extra splatter of paint. I hope Nick is not in the apartment painting because the producers and stuff are going to have to pay to repaint those walls. Scotty and Zanaya, he tells, how he didn't tell his dad, I love you, the day before he passed away. So he had an issue with his dad. He was being schooled by his dad because he, got a, ticket. And Dad said, I love you when he left, and Scotty was so in his feelings, he did not say it back, and the next day he lost his dad. That is so sad. So Scotty acknowledges it traumatized him, and he had to work through that a long time. Caleb and Arya, they do a spa evening, and they seem like roommates. Not romantic, but Arya is looking like stars in her eyes. Oh my gosh, Caleb, you want to do a spa evening with me? Arya is looking like she's falling for Caleb. But Caleb seemed real chill. But I don't know if it's real chill because he doesn't want the camera to see. But he's not giving vibes of, I'm into Arya, that I'd leave here with her. He thanks her for being in the process, and I'm like, oops, sound like a roommate. She said she feels cared for and like knowing that nice men like him do exist in the world. Arya's falling. She is attracted to his soul and his spirit. And I'm like, she seems so into him, and he seems so distant. And even when they were having a hug, his waist was way back. It was like, we ain't doing a deep hug. So Sandy and JR, they go to the pool. They're at the fire pit. They have question cards. And she does disclose that her first boyfriend, her first love, cheated on her. And she's never cheated before because she understands how that feels. I'm like, Sandy, you are speaking JR's language. She said it's scary because marriage, you are locked in, and if there's cheating, you have got to work through it. JR says he's learned how to pick up on signs of infidelity. It's like, what are those signs, JR? You need to teach a class. But Sandy always has a goblet. I'm sorry, Sandy. You're always drinking something. And I'm not saying it's alcohol. I'm just saying she always has a goblet in hand. They are in the pool, hugging on each other, and she got a goblet in her hand. I'm like, why are they hugging in the pool? They knew Nick saw them from the balcony, so now you're more out in the open where he could see everything. Why are you all up in the pool? Hugging on each other, kissing on each other. I'm sure Nick is watching. So JR says he feels connected to her mind, and they are connected, more than just, the sizzling type of connection. And they leave for the room. And production shows us, we see the room. In the room, we see Sandy laying on the bed, and he closes the door, and he seems like he is unclothed. This seems staged to me for the cameras. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. People look at this like sensationalized. Oh my God, she was on the bed. We could see everything of him from behind. It seems staged because the way he looked back, like he's looking at the camera, and then he closed the door, it seems staged to get people all riled up. I don't believe it. But this ends episode 4. I hope you'll join me for episode 5, which I will upload soon. But thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.